By a show of hands, how many of you were tired at the end of the day? You glad to crawl into bed? But tell me this, are you good tired or are you bad tired? For me, that is the ultimate question. First time I heard about good tired and bad tired was from the late singer-songwriter Harry Chapin. Harry had several Billboard hits, but he's most remembered for his 1974 song, Cats in the Cradle. After Harry died, several recordings came out that were never heard before. One was about his grandfather. Listen to Harry's words. My grandfather was a painter. He died at age 88. He illustrated Robert Frost's first 2 books of poetry. And one day he was looking at me and he said, "Harry, there's 2 kinds of tired. There's good tired and there's bad tired. Bad tired, ironically, could be a day that you won. But you won other people's battles. You lived other people's days, other people's agendas, other people's dreams. When you went to bed at night, you realized there was very little you in there. You didn't sleep so well. Well, good tired could be a day you lost, but you don't even have to ask yourself because you fought your battles, you lived your days, you chased your dreams. When you went to bed at night, you sleep the sleep of the just. All my life, I wanted to be a painter. I would have loved to have been more successful, but I painted, and I'm good tired, and they can take me away. For me, to have that degree of peace, that degree of non-fear at the end of life, I want in. Good tired has resonated for me since the first time I heard it. It's part of a mantra that I go by, part of my life's purpose. And although there are many ways to be good tired, I'm going to share with you 3 that have shaped my life. 3 strategies to be good tired. Gratitude, reflection, and paying attention. Let's start with gratitude. My dad, Howard Lauesen, was a builder. He was a carpenter. Dad's work was physically and mentally challenging. Nonetheless, Dad rested easy every day and was good tired. I was able to witness this firsthand. At the end of my freshman year of college, I was a union laborer for the same company Dad worked for. And as I built scaffolding for the tradesmen, I would watch my dad in the distance with awe. Howard Lauesen had 1 gear, and it was a high gear. Dad took so much pride and had so much passion in the details of his work. But Dad was most grateful for what he often said was, "I put in a good day's work." The work was difficult, dirty sometimes. My dad was appreciative of all the little things he could do, and one of them was his 3-year apprenticeship he served with his union. He told me many times that without that and that union wage, he wouldn't have been able to provide for his growing family of 8 children. New York Times best-selling author Brene Brown says this about gratitude. I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention. More on that later. And I'm practicing gratitude. Gratefulness is a choice. You and me, we woke up today. It's a miracle, and something so simple, we take it for granted. Good tired and gratefulness go hand in hand. Leads me to my next strategy, a daily reflection. Author Stephen Snyder of the book Focused Passion discusses the alpha state. It's a brainwave of total focused concentration. And in this state, Stephen suggests we create our peaceful place. Some call it a happy place, to reduce stress. It can be real, it can be imaginary, a combination of it. So what I created for my own peaceful place to reduce stress is a place I was so fortunate to visit. with our young family, Kanapali Beach, Hawaii, on the island of Maui. We stayed at a beautiful condominium, had a great view of the ocean. So in my peaceful place, well, I'm on the top of that condominium, and I'm on this veranda, and I have a 360-degree view of the island. I can see Kapalua Bay over here. The area I rode my bike around is here. The ocean's over here, and I can hear the waves. I feel the sun, and it's warm. There's a little breeze. I hear birds. And in my imagination, in my peaceful place, if I reflect, I can turn around and I can see the little town of Lahaina. Where might your peaceful place be? A comfy chair? Your favorite park? Somewhere in nature? Maybe a vacation destination you've only dreamed of. Try this experiment. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Now go to your own peaceful place, your happy place. What do you see? Do you hear anything? How do you feel? Take another deep breath and open your eyes. Come back to the room. It's as simple as that. You can do that once a day, 10 times a day, 20, for 20 or 30 seconds. You're going to reduce stress. You're going to feel better. Your heart rate will go down. You'll be relaxed. And it's going to help you be good tired. My final strategy is paying attention. I was asked once, if I had a year to live, what would I do more of? If I had 1 year left, I would pay closer attention in my life. My son Connor, well, I think he's brilliant. He's creative. He has this capacious mind. Connor nearly scored a perfect score on his college entrance exam in high school while he was in a major depression. Connor suffered sexual abuse when he just turned 13 years of age at the hands of a 19-year-old woman babysitter who was entrusted in our family for several years. Connor kept this a secret for over 3 years. And when he finally told my wife, Barbara, and I, he was hospitalized 2 weeks later for suicidal thoughts. When he got out of the hospital, he was scared. We were scared. We tried every therapy imaginable for Connor and for ourselves. Months later, his therapist reached out to us and said, you might want to consider a wilderness program, an emotional growth program. I had no idea what that was. She connected us with a therapist who had expertise in this area, and we met with her. And we explained to her Connor's mental suffering, his depression, the sexual abuse, his self-destructive behavior, self-medicating himself with smoking pot, likely suffering post-traumatic stress disorder. We all were, possibly. We had discussed outward bound programs for Connor, with Connor, but we realized that would not be the therapy Connor needed. The therapist suggested one program called Second Nature in Utah. She likened it to outward bound with intensive psychotherapy, group therapy, meeting with a therapist regularly. The only communication home was letter writing. And there was no specific end date. More was better. It seemed extreme. I wasn't ready to do that. 2 weeks later, There was a violent episode with Connor, and the police were involved. And I guess that was the tipping point. So I called the therapist and I said, how do we get Connor there? He's not going to go willingly. She said, you hire an escort. An escort's job is to safely transport Connor from our home to the staff at Second Nature. She gave me a name of John. So I called John. John, this is Mike Lauesen. We'd like your help getting our son to a program called Second Nature in Utah. John said, I know the program, Mr. Lauesen. It's excellent. When do you want to do this? Memorial Day weekend. It was less than 10 days away. Connor is turning 17 years of age. My wife, Barbara, and our 3 daughters went to a friend's lake house, and Connor and I, well, we spent the weekend at home. We planted flowers. We went to bookstores, and we had a beautiful weekend. But now I had a secret. Connor's last night at home, I didn't sleep much. At 4:30 in the morning, headlights came up the driveway. 2 men got out of the car. They walked to my front door. When I opened the door, the Incredible Hulk walked in. He introduced himself as John. He was the largest human being I'd ever met. They introduced me to Trevor, who was behind him. Trevor could barely fit through the width of our door. He could have played middle linebacker for the Chicago Bears. Where's Connor? I said, well, he's sleeping. You need to wake him up. So I went up the stairs. They followed, and I slowly opened up Connor's bedroom door. They stayed at the threshold of the door, and I nudged Connor, and I said, Connor, do you remember we talked about those outward bound programs? He says, yeah, Dad. He's half asleep. And I pointed, and I said, John and Trevor are here to get you there. He said, hi, fellas, and he put his head back down. That's when John said words I will never forget. You can go now, Mr. Lauesen. And I left the bedroom and I drove to the lakefront and I cried my eyes out. I was overwhelmed with fear, sadness, despair. Were we doing the right thing? Would Connor be okay? Would he engage in the program? It was the most difficult decision I have ever made in my life to this moment. I'm delighted to tell you, Connor fully engaged in the program at Second Nature. He came home 60 days later, a different person. He graduated high school, he went to college, he graduated with honors. And this past Father's Day, Connor Michael Lauesen graduated with his PhD from Stanford University. It was an overwhelming weekend in such a positive way. People have asked me over the years, do you ever regret sending him to such an intense program? I believe it saved his life. Each one of us is going to experience a difficulty or a challenge. And if we can ask for help, notice it, pay attention, it's going to help us be good tired. Mental suffering, like Connor has experienced, just doesn't go away. Some days it's small, and some days it's big. If you want to be good tired, at the end of each day, ask yourself these 3 questions. Am I grateful for what I have? Am I taking time every day to reflect? Maybe your peaceful place, your happy place. And most importantly, am I paying attention? Thank you.